Hi friends, it's Mandy. Thanks so much for joining me for another process video. Today I'm creating a layout for the Vicki Boutin design team, and I'm going to tell you this does not turn out how I originally planned. It took a few twists and turns along the way, and I did nearly give up on it at one stage, but I kept going and I persisted, and I'm happy with how it turned out. In the end, it just took a little while to get there, but I'll take you through my process. So to start with, I pulled out a sheet of the Vicki Boutin foundations paper. So this is the mixed media cardstock. It comes in a pad of, I think there's about 12 sheets in there, and it's very thick and it's perfect for your mixed media. So if you're looking for a good cardstock to use for your mixed media, I would really highly recommend the foundations paper pad from Vicki Boutin. So then I knew I wanted to have a play with the new rose gold glaze, and this is so beautiful. If you've played with the gold or the silver or the iridescent glaze from Vicki Boutin, you'll know how beautiful these are. They're so smooth and creamy and shiny. They're so pretty. But I think I got a little bit excited and I added more than what I wanted to the background. I think I kind of wanted it as a subtle layer behind my photo, but I loved it and I added too much to the background, and it wasn't really what I was wanting for this layout. So at this point, I decided what I might do is continue adding some more layers to this background, and then I'm going to use one of the dies. You can see there on the left there's a stamp set, and it comes with some circular dies in there as well. So I've seen Missy Whidden do this a few times, and I always love the end result. She makes a beautiful mixed media background, and then she'll punch some circles out of it, and I always love how that looks. So I thought that's what I might do on this layout. So I'm just continuing to add some layers to that background. So on top of the rose gold glaze, I used one of the stamps from that circle stamp set, and that's one of the new releases from Vicki Boutin. And I love these circles. They're really cool. So I just used some black archival ink and stamped that on top of the rose gold glaze, and I really like how that looks. And then I thought for some added texture, I might add some glitter to the background. And what I did was I mixed that with the matte acrylic gel. And so I just mixed it on that sheet of acetate, and then I used my palette knife to just sort of swipe it onto the page in various places. And I really like how that looks. And when it dries, you can't see the gel at all. You can just see the beautiful glitter. So that's a great way of getting the glitter onto your background without too much mess. And so then at this point I decided, hey, I'm just going to keep going and I'm just going to keep adding some more layers. And I wanted a little bit more pink on that background. And so first of all, I tried applying a pink art crayon using the stencil brush, and I liked how that looked. And then I thought for something different, I would add some water to it and use it like a watercolor. And so I applied that using the plastic packaging, and I was really happy with how this turned out in the end, especially once I cut the circles out of it. You can see them there on the left-hand side of the screen. I really like how this turned out. So, if you create a background that you're not very happy with, don't throw it in the bin. Use your dies or your Cameo, or cut something out by hand or with your craft knife. You'll be surprised at how different it looks once you cut something out of it. And I really love these little circles. I think they look really cool, and I'm going to use them as sort of the main feature on this page. And I also cut out a few circles out of a couple of the pattern papers from the collection, just for, a bit of a different look, so that they weren't all exactly the same. Okay, so now I am going to start on my background. And so I want to add just a little bit of subtle mixed media behind where I'm going to add these circles. And so the first thing I did was add some white gesso to my background where I knew I wanted to add the mixed media because I wanted to be able to blend the colours really well. And I'm just using a couple of different colours of the art crayons. There's sort of a light peachy colour and the pink one. And I'm sort of just mixing those together to get the colour that I want and applying it using some plastic packaging. I first of all started off using the sheet of acetate, but I wasn't really liking how that was looking. So I'm just using a small sheet of plastic packaging, and I like that. And, you know, just try different ways of applying your wet mediums. Sometimes one thing will work and sometimes something else will work. And on this page, just that little bit of plastic packaging was working really well. So then I've brought the circles onto the layout and sort of laid them out roughly where I want them. And then I decided I actually want a little bit more on that background. So I'm coming in now with my stencil brush and that lighter peachy coloured art crayon. And so I'm just building up the colour on that background, just applying it dry onto the background. And, you know, these stencil brushes are so awesome. They're so... they make it so easy to apply. You know, if you're worried about using, you know, messy wet mediums and how, you know, you don't like how messy that is, you will probably really like the stencil brush because you can apply the art crayons dry. You're very much in control of it. You can build up the colour as much as you like, and you get this beautiful look to it. I really love how that turns out using the stencil brush. And so as you can see, I ended up just taking the circles off the background because I just wanted to keep adding some more to that background. And I'm really happy with how that turned out. I just wanted something sort of light and subtle behind those circles. And so then I decided I wanted some black splatters for contrast. And so I pulled out my black art crayon and I'm just using my water brush just to splatter some of those around. And then I took it to my sewing machine and I've just sewn through some of those circles on the background. I want some of them stuck flat to the page, and I'm going to add some foam tape behind some of them just to lift them up and give them some extra dimension. So the ones that I wanted stuck flat to the page, I just used my sewing machine and ran it through a couple of times back and forth just to add some more texture and some more interest to the page. I will say, though, that my sewing machine did have a little bit of trouble going through the glitter and also because that cardstock is very thick. It did have a little bit of trouble, but it got there in the end. But if you're worried about that, I just wanted to let you know. Okay, so I've got those circles stuck down now, and as I said, I stuck down some of those with foam tape, and now I'm ready to bring in my photo and embellishments. And the photo that I am documenting today is just a fun selfie of me with my eldest daughter, Abby, and I really love it because it just shows that fun side of our relationship, I think. She's at a really great age at the moment, and I'm really enjoying spending time with her and that sort of thing. And so I really like this photo, and I want to use this page just to document how much I love her and how important she is to me and how happy she makes me. So I matted the photo with that black script patterned paper, and then I'm just sort of tucking it in, overlapping some of the circles and then allowing some of the circles to sort of sit overlapping the top of the photo. So it just sort of looks like it's nestled in there. And I'm going to use one of the gold glitter thickers for the title, and I chose that word shine, and I'm just adding that along the bottom of the photo there. And now I'm just pulling out some embellishments just to see what I can add to the page. And I'm just adding some glue to the back of these stickers just because I'm sticking them over the top of mixed media. It just helps them just to make sure that they stay in place. So I've stuck that one down the bottom there that says something about, but first let me take a selfie. I do end up moving that after I finished recording. I end up sort of moving that up the page a little bit. I didn't like that it was sort of right at the bottom of the page. It does stay there on the page, but yeah, I just move it a little bit. And then that phrase at the top there that says enjoy the little things, I had already cut that sticker in half to use on another page, but I didn't end up using it. So I ended up using it on this page, and I actually really like that it's cut in half because I could add it there like that. And then I decided I wanted a little bit more gold on the page, so I add some of those gold glitter thickers, and that just helps to tie in with the title, just so that that doesn't you know, look like it's on its own sort of thing. It sort of ties it all in and makes it look cohesive. And then I add a little banner there to the top right hand corner of the photo, and that's just a little chipboard banner that's on the finishing embellishments sheet. And you can see that I also added that black heart there from the thicker sheet, but I do end up taking that off because I felt like it was just kind of standing out a little bit too much. I think, like I said before, I like things to look cohesive, and I don't like them to look like they're sort of just on their own. And so when I decided to move that sticker that's at the bottom of the page up a little bit, I decided to take that black heart off, and I like how that looks better. So then I wanted to add some rub-ons to the page, and so I'm adding 3 of those butterflies, and these are really beautiful. I haven't used rub-ons for a long time. I used to use them a lot when I first started scrapbooking years ago, and I have to say the quality is a lot better now than it was then. And yeah, I really love these. So I added the 3 of them, as you can see, to create that visual triangle. And the third one, you can see now that I'm adding that onto some vellum. And I did that because I wanted to overlap it on the side of the photo. And I also wanted to be able to sort of lift it up off the page a little bit. So, you know, you don't have to use your rub-ons straight onto the page. If you want to be able to move them around or whatever, put them onto some vellum, and then I just used a little bit of liquid glue on the back just to stick it down. So I'm getting fairly close to being done now. I do add some journaling underneath my title there, and then I also decide, once I've finished, I decided to come back and actually mat the whole layout in some black cardstock. When I had finished, it just, to me, felt like it needed something else, and so just by matting it in that black cardstock, it really frames it and provides some nice contrast, and I think it just finishes it off nicely. I did think about using some patterned paper to frame the layout, but I sort of didn't want to take away from, you know, the circles and the background. So I felt by just adding that black matting around the page that it just finished it off nicely and added some nice contrast. And so then I decided that I actually wanted to add a couple more of those circles just towards the bottom of the page there. I just felt like it wasn't looking quite balanced. So I just come back in and add a couple more of those. And then I'm going to add some stamping using the All the Good Things roller stamp set. And I'm just using those, the little row of dots. And I'm going to add that in a few places, and then that will be it. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will be back with another one soon. So I'll see you then, guys. Bye.